My dad played saxophone in my grandfather's church. We still have a church that's carried on by his grandson and my cousin, Reverend Gregory Wilkes. And you might recall I wrote a song called Wilkes Barbecue because Jesse and Daisy Wilkes, they ran a smokehouse, barbecue smokehouse, and people would bring different meats by to have them smoked, you know. And so I grew up in his church. And so before that, we always had a piano in the house because my dad repaired instruments and tuned pianos and restored pianos. So we had at least three or four spinets or upright around the house, on the front porch or like this, where dad was working on them or using one piano for parts. And so I picked up the piano by ear. There were the Dangerfield sisters that lived across the street from us, and they had a gospel singing group. And they also did some of the hits of the day. Just three ladies, three sisters, a cappella. And they rotate. One of them played piano for the group. And she taught me my first song on piano by ear. And it's called, you guys will know this one. This stuff. You know, that was a huge hit when I was growing up. And one of the sisters taught me that at the piano by ear. I sat next to her and she showed me the left hand and the right hand, and I learned it. That was a pivotal moment. She also taught me My Girl. You know,
Right.
those type of things. Those were the first things that I learned. And then I started taking formal piano lessons in the fourth grade, and I had Miss Thomas, and she also let me play her Hammond B3 organ. So back then, so she taught me how to start it up because you had to do it just right with one button and then the next one and let them go. And so I started reading music, and then I started band. Uh, they had a prep thing they would do. In the fourth grade, they would buy everybody a flutophone. I don't know, the young cats probably don't know what a flutophone is. I know y'all know. Yeah, I see y'all know. We aging ourselves, but that's proudly, you know. You can still buy a flutophone. In fact, wait a moment. We had bought some recorders. My wife bought a recorder, and I said, wow, because a lot of times they want to start kids off with recorders. But back in the day, we had this. Y'all recognize that. It's much easier to play, you know. So they would give us a recorder, this flutophone in fourth grade to every class. And then the band director would come in and we'd learn some flutophone. And that weeded out the people that didn't have talent. Mm-hmm. So they would tank, and so because the next year in fifth grade, you would get your instrument. So I got a clarinet against my wishes. Like I said, I heard my dad play saxophone, and all the music store would come to the cafeteria of the junior high, and they would set out all the instruments that you could rent with the option to buy. That way, if your kid didn't really lost interest, you could give it back. you know. So my band director and my dad teamed up to me and made me play the clarinet, which I was happy with, no problem, because at the time there was a big hit on the radio called "Strangers on the Shore" by Ackert Bilt, and he was an English uh, clarinet player, and he had a hit, man, if you can believe it, playing with a lot of vibrato on the clarinet. You know, that was a hit. And I used to sit by the radio and wait for that to come on, because it would come on about 2 or 3 times an hour. And I learned that off the radio on the clarinet. Then I started taking formal clarinet, and my private teacher, Carlo Manetti, he said, play something for me. And I played that. And he said, Robert, that's very beautiful, but the clarinet doesn't use vibrato, classical clarinet, So that was another pivotal moment, taking private clarinet lessons. And the private lessons, because they always told me, learn the clarinet and it'll help your saxophone. You can learn saxophone in the 7th grade. You excel on the clarinet, and we'll let you add saxophone. So I did, and because I was always a band rat, and so private lessons helped me start fingering. Because on any instrument, the most important thing is how you finger it. I've seen people with a lot more talent than I, but they didn't really cross over because they didn't know how to properly finger your horn or your instrument, like on the scales on the piano, There's a reason, after the 3rd note, your thumb goes under. Because there's a way to finger these musical machines. And sometimes, and most times, I say 99% of the time, there's two ways to play the same note. And so the private lessons showed me alternate fingerings and the possibilities. And I took that to the saxophone, the harp, because when I learned those alternate fingers, like on clarinet, crossing over the break, right hand C, left hand C, right hand B, or left hand B, those made a difference depending on the direction of your line and where you're coming from, and also where you're going. Are you going to continue upward, or is this the top note and you're going back down? All that kind of stuff you have to consider when you're playing your instrument, And so that was a very, very big moment for me, studying with Carlo Manetti. And then my high school band director, he was a jazz drummer at night. He wasn't band director, I'm sorry. My high school American history teacher. And he turned the second half of the year into jazz history and gave us books, texts, and took us through a listening session from the beginning of jazz up to 1970. That's where we were. That's the first time I really heard Bird and heard the whole story of jazz, the soap opera of jazz. I call it's America's longest running soap opera. Got to tune in, see who the characters are, and got to start from the beginning. Now when we're streaming, you get it in a show on episode 5, you realize quickly you need to go back to episode 1. So it's the same thing in music. You got to go back to episode 1. And, and episode 1 is just learning how to finger an instrument that has a history longer than we've been alive. And there have been masters. I mean, Bird was a master, Train, all these cats, Dexter, they knew whether your saxophone, when to use right hand, side C, or regular C. 1-and-1, bis, side B flat, all these things, side D, regular D, all these things are options on saxophone. On piano, there are certainly things. I watch pianos and they can do most of their ideas without using the pinky. Mm-hmm. The pinky was always there as the escape valve, Boom, then they hit that with the pinky. you know, but they'd be doing everything. And I watch pianos a lot, and I watch how they finger the instrument. Herbie talks about that in one of his master classes, you know, and it's very important. And so the other thing was um, coming back to Kansas City in 1971, really getting into jazz. I had the jazz bug, and I did 2 years at Kansas City Community College and went to University of Miami. I met Curtis Lundy and Carmen Lundy and Jocko and Gil Goldstein and Bruce Hornsby, and there was a lot of cats there, you know. Mark Colby, God rest his soul. So there's a lot of cats. Ira Sullivan lives there. Phyllis Hyman, Monty Alexander. I mean, when I look back on it, it was just where I need to be. And then we had the beach scene. So that's when I really did my first really professional gigs in a union. I joined the Miami Union. And then I bought my first tuxedo. And all of our teachers in Miami were players in the jazz department. They had gigs. Whit Sider and them guys, they would play for Frank Sinatra and Henry Mancini. You know, those were the top gigs, you know, when they come there at the Fontainebleau Hotel. Then they had different levels of gigs, you know. They would have I did like Red Fox show. I did the Dells. I did Nancy Wilson. You know, I did shows like that. So our instructor pass them gigs. They take the top ones, and then we get the you know, the trickle down, as they like. There was trickle down in gigs then, because starting in October, Miami Beach would be wide open until it got warm up north. So all of us students, man, we had a tuxedo. I bought my first tuxedo. I got my first 6-night-a-week gig down there, playing in Sides Rivergate with Carmen and Curtis and some other cats, and sometime with Bruce Hornsby. So that's the first time I actually worked 6 nights a week. And that made a big difference because at that time, I was about 19, 20, you know, and I've been practicing religiously up to that time. And I was, you know, I was practiced. I was ready to work. But the really thing I learned is when I started working 6 nights a week, and that was my life, we'd work, we'd come back, we'd run at night, we'd get up, we'd eat, we'd cook, we'd listen all day and go back to work. We did that for a whole summer. And during that summer, I progressed more in 3 months than I did those 19 years leading up to it. I mean, that showed me the importance of work, of playing. Mm-hmm. You know, pitchers have to pitch, man. You know, so I was in there working. I was working 6 nights a week on the beach, man, and then it continued, and I was improving because I was still practicing during the day, but I was reflecting off of weaknesses and holes that I found in my playing from being on the bandstand, because your endorphins and your adrenaline and other things, your ears sharpen up, you know, you're paying attention when you're on the bandstand. And it's hard for most people to get that level of intensity while you're just practicing. And I'm not saying practicing, I mean, I still practice, you know, but I know that once I get to play, I can figure out where I'm at and go back and work on the things. And then the other thing was going to New York, you know, and that's when I met Art Blakey, and I would go out every night. Pam and I, my wife, we just moved there. I was playing on the street, and we were making money. There's people out there like Steve Coleman and Vincent Herring and Marvin Smitty Smith, Arthur Rames. A lot of cats were out there. George Braith, and we all had our spots, and we would make about $60, $70 a piece during the day. And in 1976, that was pretty good. You could do a lot with that. And so we would go to the clubs, me and Pam, and we would get in where we could, or we would sit outside the club and listen. And that's when the cats started to notice this young couple sitting out there, And I'd always have my horn with me. And I met a lot of great musicians, Larry Young and people like Clifford Jordan and George Adams, Cedar, Billy Higgins. You know, there was a lot of things. And when I go back, one of the other pivotal moments was meeting Clark Terry, you know, when I was very young in high school, and hearing him for the first time. And then being able to work with him over the years as he would come in and do a master class, be a clinician, artist in residence. That was huge, knowing Clark Terry. And also Mr. Rich Matson, great euphonium and low brass player. He passed away, but he was teaching, he finished his career at North Texas State. Rich Matson, he was a great, great teacher. Him and Clark had ways of explaining the music and the devices they use to young people. You know, how to use a Dorian and how to use what they now call an altered scale, you know, but it wasn't called that back then. You know, we called it a Dorian with a raised seventh, a half step above the root. So, you know, I learned like that. And like I said, meeting Art Blakey probably took about 10 years of searching and guessing off my life. He was a great, great man, you know. He wasn't perfect, but he was a great, great person, like none of us are. But his good outweighed the bad. Mm-hmm. And the bad didn't hurt anybody. It was just funny.
No, you said a lot, but one thing I want to kind of go back. You know, you were saying that summer, during 3 months, you learned so much playing. Now let's fast forward to coronavirus, this pandemic, when we can't. And I'm speaking for me as a musician. I'm speaking for all these other young musicians who, you know, can't get a chance to play and express themselves. And we all know part of playing this music or growing this music is playing with somebody. So how have you dealt with that? And for as encouragement for me and these kids, what can we do to, because I'm sure we're gonna be in this pandemic at least for another maybe 6-7 months. So how are you dealing with it, and what give us some advice?
Oh my goodness. I have several students. I retired in May, by the way, but I'm adjunct for a year. They hired me back for a year. Here's the thing. If you can get together with your buds and you guys are all safe in some type of bubble or something like this, I think that's a great way to be in the laboratory and explore. And the thing about playing together, guys, is limit your compliments to each other. You know, you might nod your head, oh yeah, man, or see if you can ask questions. Hey, man, or hey, lady, hey, ma'am, what was that you played on that? What was that voicing over there? I missed that. You know, when you don't have an audience, you want to play like it's a performance, but you have the luxury of questioning your bandmates. Hey, man, you was the drummer. You was doing this thing against that thing on the bridge, man. I kind of got turned around, man. What was that? You know, can we work on that? You know, instead of just sitting around patting everybody on the back. Yeah, man, that was killing. Woo! You know, I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says "Woo!" You know. You know, so I mean, use these opportunities to the young folk. If you get a chance to be in the same space with other musicians, make the most out of it. You know, record the session, go back and listen to the session, listen to yourself with critical ears, and really be hard on yourself. You know, if there's a change that you kept missing, go back and see that. Learn the songs a little deeper that you played. Make a list of what you played and start building a book of standards or whatever it is, originals. You know, study those things that you guys play with no audience, because you can even stop and say, wait a minute, I don't know what you're doing on that. Can we, walk over to the piano or the keyboard and converse, because there's no replacement for playing in front of people. Once you get in front of people, man, your antennas go way up. But if your antennas go up while you're just playing by yourself, you get used to like playing in a less selfish manner. We're just so happy to play with each other, and we're just gonna just get off. I'm gonna release some steam. Totally cool. Totally cool. But keep that scientific lab mind in your head when you're playing with your buds. Learn from each other. That's it. Learn from each other. And then when you get on the bandstand, it'll just like blossom.
That's a good point. I just want to really get your thoughts on that. I'm sure a lot of kids got questions. Gary, Top, you can jump in. I know we pressed with time, so I don't want to hold it.
I'm not nowhere to go. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gary, if you got something, Mr. Topper is one of our saxophone teachers. Just great guy, great saxophonist. He's done a lot of work. He's spent some time in New York. And I'm sure he might have some questions. If Gary, if you got some, you can please.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for being with us, Bobby. Great to have you.
Oh, there you are. Thank you, Gary.
I wanted to ask you about your time with Art Blakey and the Messengers. I know you were the music director and you had a lot of duties with that group. What was Art Blakey's sort of demeanor as a leader? Was he an authoritarian guy? Was he laid back, or was somewhere in the middle? How was he to work for?
That's a great question. He led by example, and he taught from the drums. We didn't discuss music and the arrangements and dynamics and phrasing. When we were together, we would talk, politics and finance, current affairs, history, a lot of history, Black history, world history. We would talk currencies, different things like that. And so we really never had a musical conversation like they might do at a higher Institute of Higher Learning. Even though when I say Institute of Higher Learning, Art, I was so proud to be able, the Messengers with Wynton and Billy Pierce and Fambro and James, we were in Fort Lauderdale for like 4 days. And I was able, Art agreed to come bring the band over to University of Miami, my alma mater. I was so proud, boy. My teachers were there, and I was so proud. And so, and this is really what stuck. This is one of the moments that stick with you. Somebody asked Art during the Q&A, well, Art, did you have any formal education? And Art says, let me tell you something. He goes, you come here to get your diploma, you come with me to get your education. And so I was like, whoa. And so, but it's like, that was then. Now you can get some education and I want to just say that now. I'm not throwing shade. That was then. Now you got cats that can play that are teaching you guys, guys that have some experience and some street cred, And it wasn't so much then. That's what made Miami so special for me then. But I forgot why. I'm sorry, I got off track.
Blake.
Oh, how he was to work with. See, Art, no matter how tired he was, when he got on the bandstand, he was energized. He stood up straighter, his eyes got wider, his big smile came over his face, and he strode to the mic and started talking. And we were looking at him going, my God, he's twice our age. We thought he'd be dead. We thought we'd have an easy night tonight. Nope. The more tired he was, the longer we played. And so Art, we learned, the things that we learned from Art was the bandstand was our sanctuary and it was our altar. And you leave all your crap and bullshit, excuse my language, off the bandstand. Even if two of you guys in the band weren't speaking all day, when you get to the bandstand, you had to be able to look each other in the eye and make music. And so his lesson was once he got to the drums, you might be belly aching inside or having these emotions inside or be tired or not feeling good or be hungry or mad. But when he hit those drums and he started playing, because he just started out playing and set up the first tune. Always. We didn't just start as a band, bam. No, he would start playing and call the spirits. And we're watching this, you see? And then he's got this look on his face like, later for you guys, you know? I'm going this way. You either come with me or you're gonna get left behind. And we're like, oh man. You know, because like, so every time I put this neck strap on, I kind of go into I'm a different person without the neck strap. But when I put this neck strap on, it triggers some type of post-hypnotic suggestion. And I'm Bobby Watson. You know, people who've known me a long time, they call me Rob or Robert, you know? But when I put this on, and that came from being around Art. When you walk on that bandstand, you were self-hypnosed, you're self-hypnotized to go somewhere. You know, that was it. The only time he would bring us backstage is when we sounded too perfect. In our, you know, not so much the themes and the melodies, but in our solos. Because that's another thing that comes when you're playing every night. You know, you start to refine your solos. You know, you're still trying to create, but you start like polishing it up and, oh yeah, that worked last night. Let me keep that. And, or, you know, you start building a solo because you know you can't really stretch out because you got 4 more soloists. You know, you got 2 more horns and a piano and maybe even a bass and sometimes a drum solo. So you really can't get greedy in a small group, you know? So you gotta basically count on 3 or 4 good courses every night that's yours. And the mistake we made, instead of using them 3 or 4 courses as room to explore and make mistakes and discover things, we started like crafting stuff, you know? And that's when Art would take us backstage and he'd read us the riot act. You guys sound too perfect. You sound like you're playing out of an exercise book. I want to hear some mistakes. Some mistakes are the gateway to discovery. I want to hear some mistakes. You know, I'm selling swing. Those are the times he would pull us in, man. You know.
That's crazy that you said he wanted to hear mistakes. I mean, that's wow.
Yeah, because he remembered what you played last night. You know, everybody thinks he ain't listening, you know. He's listening to all of us. He's listening to us harder than we're listening to each other. That's another thing I learned, how to listen a little more deep, you know. Sometimes after you do your solo, you're so busy self-analyzing your solo, you're going, man, I could have did this, and your head's down. And then and Art, one time I was standing next to him, he took his stick and he poked me. I said, huh? He goes, stop taking yourself so serious. And it snapped me out of it, you know, and said, okay, I did my solo. You can't hit a home run every time. You know, play your stuff, but stay in the music. A lot of cats, after you play your solo, you're not really listening to anybody else because you're too busy like analyzing what you played and what you're gonna play next, see? So I learned that from Art. Stay in the music. Listen to everybody's solo. Don't start talking behind their back with the other guy while the other guy's soloing. Musicians do that a lot. Once they solo, then they look for somebody to talk to it and go, And meanwhile, your bandmate's up there blowing his heart out, you see? And your bandmate was probably listening to you, hopefully. So listen to each one of you guys when you're playing. Don't just zone out and then go to the bar. I did my saxophone solo. Let's see. I got 2 more solos, 3 more solos, maybe bass. I got time to go to the bar, or I got time to go, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really listening. Stay engaged. That's what I learned from art.
Okay. Another question. We got a lot of saxophones in here. Y'all can jump in, students. Gary, you got another question, Gary? You good? You want?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was listening to Horizon, you guys playing Seventh Avenue, and that 7/4 time feel just felt so fluid and like easy. Was that something that the group was able to just fall into, or did it take some time to develop that kind of a feel that was just, it was almost like you're still playing in 4. It was so fluid.
That's a good question too, Gary, and I won't make it a long answer. I can really put that together quickly. Most of the world dances in odd meters. Only the Western gringos and stuff, we like 4s, and the most odd we'll get is 3, a waltz, but basically they're dancing in 2s, 3s, and 4s as well, you see, because I went to Greece and we went to other countries, and I went to things like this, Turkey, and you see housewives and normal people, fishermen, farmers at night dancing in 7. So I always say this: 5 is a Turkish 2. Let's see. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 7 is a Turkish 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then 4 is a Turkish 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So once we realized that it was connected to dance, we stopped counting. Because if you come up in the ranks, we want to count. We want to go how you want to subdivide it. And you really don't have to think about it if the person knows what they're doing. They're writing a song like Victor, dun, 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 Milton was having trouble. Milton Mustafa. I said, Milton, let's just dance to it. And I showed him the 3. Dun, 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 dun. Then when you come up to the mic, you're into the groove. So it's like we're dancing, we're not counting. And that's what I learned from the world, and I had friends from different countries that pulled my coat to that. Because I learned how these people that never went to music school, how they grooving so hard and they don't get lost. Then I realized, well, there's a dance connected to it. So, I would recommend everybody try to dance your way through it. Learn how to pat your foot, Get a physical connection to the beat.
Did you ever play a Greek wedding where you had to play some of those tunes? That wasn't easy.
I
Have
I
the style down,
Yeah, I did a duo gig with a Turkish drummer named Burhan. We did a duo concert, and that's when I really had the breakthrough, because during the rehearsal, I was having a terrible time. And then when I was in Greece, on some of the islands, I had some friends there that, we would go out and hang out, and they would invite me up with my saxophone. Like the Greek blues is called a rebettika. Every culture has its own set of blues. That's another thing I learned. How to make what we learn more organic. I stopped counting and started feeling. And that comes from patting your foot and trying to dance. I always challenge my students to get up and dance on this. I'll turn on some, I'll turn on some some of my stuff from when I was growing up, man. Come on, man. Let me see you get in it. We're gonna start there, A lot of musicians don't know how important it is to dance. You don't have to dance well, but you gotta feel it, man.
Yeah. These kids nowadays don't dance, man. You go to their parties, man. They don't dance at all, man. They just on their phones or just, I don't know. I ask my daughter all the time. She's 16, 15. I mean, they don't dance. You know how they don't do no type of dance and anything. So, but I won't hold you up too long. Come on, Isaac, got a question. Jump in, because we got about 6 or 7 questions. So, Isaac,
Good. I'll take them all.
Hey there, Mr. Watson. So right here.
Oh, there you are. Hey, Isaac.
Yeah. So my question is, throughout your whole learning process, your playing process, writing, composing, etc., what is one thing that you would tell your past self at around my age? I'm 17. So around then, maybe a little younger, a little older, what is something that you right now would tell your past?
Related to what?
Anything.
Music-wise, or just something that I did different. I have something in mind. I just want to make, before I say it, I just want to make sure that I understand you completely.
Well, I was asking as a whole. So yes, it could be generally, but I guess I was kind of pertaining it to music as well.
Okay, yeah, I was too. I wish that I could have
Oh, you cracked
how to
up.
play in slow motion.
You cracked up.
Oh, I wish I would learn.
Your reception went bad. Say that one more time.
Who, me?
Mr. Watson, your reception kind of went slow, so just say that one more time.
Okay. Everybody tells you to practice slow. First thing I would tell any young person, don't go for speed. Speed, when students come to me, speed doesn't impress me if they're making mistakes. So slow with no mistakes is better. And I knew that from taking clarinet lessons. He taught me to practice things very slowly and then play them backwards. Even if you got a real difficult passage, play it slowly and then play this passage backwards and then play it forward again and then backwards. So I knew the value of playing slow, but what I missed out, I wish I would have known when I was your age, is playing in slow motion. It is a difference. Like this. This is Cherokee. Okay, so say if I was gonna go, this is Cherokee, and I don't have time to do both. This is Cherokee in slow motion. What I mean by that, if you look up, write this down, Ben Hogan, the great golfer, Ben Hogan, slow motion. And that's how he practiced his swing in hotel rooms and everything. He practiced in slow motion. So what that means, if you sped up what I play, or if you sped up Ben's swing to regular speed, it would be like beautiful. Whew. So we play like we're playing in slow motion, so that when you record yourself, and you guys got the technology, if you was to take it up 50% faster, would it swing? If you're playing in slow motion, I'm gonna say that again, and you record yourself and you increase the speed, the tempo up 50%, would it swing and would it make sense? All right, now the other thing about slow motion, you can also pause. So like I'll go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just the first A of Cherokee. But I slowed down so much that I could hit some notes that I wouldn't have thought about. I'm slow enough so I can pick my notes. I get a chance to, instead of going, I'm going slow, I can go. Or I can go. See, I got choices because I'm going slow and I'm giving myself a chance to think.
Mhm.
So I wish I would have given myself a chance to think a little bit more when I was your age. Because once I learned that, that really opened me up.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll definitely be using that.
Come on, Kenny.
Hey, Mr. Watson.
Oh, there you are, Kenneth. Hey.
I was just asking. I have two questions. The first one was, what was it like working with Roy Hargrove, and like, what's one thing about him that like really stood out to you? And the second thing is, what are some like newer players you've really kind of been, well, like any younger cats that you've really been listening to, and like for what reason, why?
Okay. Good question. Well, Kenneth, Roy was an old soul, a very wise human being. And I think he had, if he didn't have photographic memory, it was pretty darn close. Because that song we played, he was in high school, and he would come back to me years later and play it for me every time he see me. And we start playing together, and I get to the bridge and I start stumbling, and he knew it on my own tune. So he had a memory like an elephant, man. And he had great respect for the tradition. And he was a very kind person, great musician. You know, I think that, I don't know, God has plans and man has plans. So sorry to see him go. And the other question was what, Kenneth?
Oh, my other question. What are some like younger cats you've really been
Oh
like?
yeah. There's a few. I mean, I've been with into Jaleel Shaw for a long time, you know, and the older cats, you know, like Antonio Hart. But I like Emmanuel Wilkins. He's been catching my ear. I'm trying to listen to him because of his control of the instrument. You know, he has a phenomenal. His concept is very intriguing to me. And there's another guy, Isaiah Collier. He's out of Chicago, and you know, there's a few. I'm listening. I'm just trying to listen to all of them, Kenneth. Um, if I see an alto player, I'll check him out. You know, but Emmanuel's kind of caught my ear for a minute. There's another cat in New York. I can't remember his name right now, but I like his style too, man. You know, there's several. There's a cat from Philly that plays with Oren all the time. I can't remember his name. It's a white cat, man. He's blazing. Shoot, I don't remember, but he's good. You'll see him on Oren's record. You know, anything by Oren Evans, if he's got an alto on it, it's him. But I think the music's in good shape. You know, the thing of it is, we've got to get this pandemic thing under control the way it's going to be for all of us, so that we can see each other and get back to what's been missing for all of us, is that social. We're social creatures. You know, we have to interact, man. We get energy. We all have auras, you know, and when we're next to each other, our auras blend and we feed off of each other, you know, because you know you have certain people that seem to take energy from you. You know, after you get through being around them, you're like exhausted. My God, you know,
Yeah.
good people. And then there's other people, when you're around them, it feeds you energy, you know? So that's part of another topic for another day, that yin and yang and all that good stuff, you know, and auras and whatnot. That's missing from us, man. We need that.
Right.
You know, so hopefully we'll be able to, you know, get that back together. And you know, I think everything will accelerate. You know, the good thing about this, I think when this thing is over and everybody can get back to some semblance of normal, I told everybody, man, everybody's gonna be like they just got out of prison.
Right. Right.
They hit that bandstand, boy, it's gonna be like, I just got out of prison, man. There's gonna be some long solos. Gonna be some sets with just one song, man. You know, it's gonna be like crazy.
Right.
And we don't even care. Forget about programming the set, man. You're gonna get in this one song, man. It's just gonna go.
All right, thanks, Kenneth. Katie, you next.
Hi, Mr. Watson. So my question was, what do you think is the most valuable skill?
Oh, there you are, Katie. Hey, say it again. You're breaking up.
A player can have.
Yeah, I think her reception.
Accompanying.
Yeah, I can read that. She's saying,
Oh, you got a chat. I can turn on the chat.
yeah. It's in the chat.
Okay, what do you think is the most valuable skill? A rhythm
Yeah.
accompanying and playing with others in general? I think that that's really good. Bass players, they have to deal with the song form. Piano players definitely got the chords, so they got to know. And we have the melody. And all great piano players, they want a lead sheet. They don't want a piano part. You know, if there's some rhythms on there, they need that, some hits, but they basically want the melody. And that starts from the top down, Katie. You know, you should know the melody of every song you're playing and be humming it. I mean, I've been around drummers, you know, Billy Higgins and stuff. I don't need to name drop. Great drummers. And when you stand next to them, you hear them humming the melody. They're in it. They're in it. Idris Muhammad, you know. They're part of the tune, you know. I mean, when Idris was in the band with me, we was at the Vanguard, and he said, "What we gonna play, Bobby?" And I said, "Oh, we're gonna play Karita." He goes, sing it to me. I go, ba, 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 ba. Oh, that one. He says, "Man, I can't remember titles." As many people as I play with, man, you know, so he learns the music. And, you know, titles, I'm like, oh, silly me, you know, the sun rises and sets, everybody knows my titles, you know. So that kind of humbled me out, you know. So I go, I hum it to them. Ba, 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 da, ba. And they go, oh yeah. And then they go. So that's how you should connect, not to the page. You should be the first one to put the paper down. And those cats, Billy Higgins, Billy Hart, all the drummers, even though if you put the music in front of them, they would read it, but they would have a little Walkman next to their drums or somewhere in the room, and they record the whole rehearsal, and they go back and they learn it that way. So be part of the melody, be part of the phrasing. You're just as important as the horn players. You know, you're not a lawnmower back there. You know, that's what Curtis said. Some guy handed out a piece, and Curtis says, "What kind of feel is this?" He goes, "Oh, just start up." You know, and Curtis Lundy says, "What am I, a lawnmower?" You know, just start up. You know, what's my motivation? What am I playing on? You know, what are the curves? What are the ups and downs of this piece? How do I shape it? I'm part of the band too. I'm not just a rhythm track, you know. I play along. Even though I have to tell you, those Jamie Aebersold records, if you listen to them like music, they got some great players on them things. So if you listen to the piano player, you know, and don't just use those play-alongs for just, you know, a prop. You know, really get into those play-alongs and listen to what Kenny Barron and them cats are playing, Ronnie Matthews and all these great players that are on these records, you know, and then try to make your improvisation come out of the record. Become a part of the record. Don't let the record just be a backdrop for you to experiment on, which it's good for that too. So as a rhythm section player, listen to those play-alongs and listen to what them cats are doing. Because you know how those play-alongs are made? They're in isolation. The rhythm section's together, and then there's Jamie or somebody or me on mine. We're up in another booth, and the rhythm section can hear us. So they're playing along with us. And then I solo. I take 2 or 3, 4 courses, however it says on the book, you know, and I solo, and the rhythm section is interacting with me. And then when the record comes out, I'm not on the record. So you get a rhythm section, volume 119 or something, and then you think it's they're not playing in a vacuum. None of those play-alongs were made in a vacuum. Remember that. Did I answer your question, Katie? And dynamics. Remember the drummer. So goes the small group. So goes the drummer. So goes the small group. In a big band, it's more like so goes the lead trumpet player. So goes the big band. You know? But to me, the drummer is actually the de facto leader. So you want to be up front and try to direct field changes. If you're in swinging and you're going to go to the bridge on Latin, ding 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 ding, you know, set it up and test out of it. Dynamics, you control the dynamics. That's nothing I learned from art. Art controlled the dynamics. And when you got a drummer that plays dynamics and knows how to shape a tune and don't space out after the melody and just stays with it. Again, I said that before. Don't start thinking about yourself. Stay with the musicians. Stay with them. Don't leave in your mind. Finish it. You know, you don't have anything else to do. Cats get on the bandstand, their minds start going a million places. And you're probably on the bandstand for an hour or 2 a night. And in the rest of the 22 hours, you don't have that opportunity. So why not give all your focus and your attention and your ears to those 5 or 6 tunes you're gonna play? See them all the way through, from beginning to end. So that's what I see rhythm sections, sometimes they space out. You know, this is with everybody, they space out, they're not with me. Or I'm not, you know, they're not with the group the whole time we're playing. Did I get you?
Yeah, I got this. I got you, yeah. Thanks. My wife like, how long you gonna be doing this? She'll be all right. Okay, we got Miss Elkos. We have a Tian, you still on here? We have a singer that has a question.
Oh.
Yes, I'm still on here.
Hey, go ahead. Ask the question.
Well, my question was, when people criticized you on your certain type of music, how did you take it, and what did you do to make yourself feel better if you felt bad?
That's a good question. Tiana? Yeah. First of all, consider the source. If it's from somebody you respect or something like that, or somebody you know have your best interest in mind, then just take it, you know, because most people, there's a lot, as you guys say, there's a lot of haters out there. So be able to separate the haters from the people that really love you. And because Art always said that he wouldn't say nothing to me if he didn't love me. You know, because I asked him, why are you getting so hard on me? You know, he says, I wouldn't say nothing to you. I just say, yeah, you sound good. Because that's what most people really want to hear. But if they start criticizing you, consider the source. That means they probably care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Grant, go ahead, Grant.
Yeah, so my question is, hi, by the way, my name's Grant, I play tenor sax. Could you describe like the precise moment where you think you played the best in your entire career?
I'm still waiting for it.
Well, if you had to say like so far.
I think the best times I've played have not been documented. I was in the car and I heard something that me and my wife Pam were doing. I think I was playing Like Someone in Love, and I hadn't heard it at least in 7 years, and it popped up on my iPhone when I was listening to music in the car. And I was like, dang, dang, I sound good, you know? And I had to, after I listened to it once, I don't want to listen to it no more because I had to do a little performance the next day, and that was bugging me, you know? Because I was playing some stuff that I don't remember playing, you know? But it made sense because it was me. So it all said, well, yeah, that's me. I can see myself doing that. Yeah, that makes sense. But I hadn't been in that, you know, that was a zone that caught me by surprise.
Mm.
Just record yourself as much as you can, you know, and be really hard on yourself.
Well, Mr. Watson, I think that's it with questions, man. You know, I think this is so important because I remember Donna Brown used to take me to jazz festivals and just meet, you know, just a lot of people, and that was very inspiring to me. So I want to give these kids. We're at the Memphis Jazz Workshop. We want to give our students and the people in Memphis, you know, that our friends, just an opportunity to talk to, you know, people like you who's doing it, who live this music, and example of a true. I don't want to say jazz because sometimes I get in trouble using the word jazz. That's a whole nother conversation.
Whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we'll say that for another. We'll say that for another day. But anybody have anything else before Mr. Watson leave?
I do.
I saw Alan raise his hand.
Okay, go ahead. Well,
How you doing, Bobby? A long-time listener, man, totally a fan. But I just want to ask you a question. A couple of things, actually. First one is, because we talk about your playing and all that, but you're also a prolific writer and composer. So how does your writing affect your playing, or is it backwards? Your playing affects your writing?
Oh, yeah. I think it's a good question. I think I've always been, my writing affects my playing, because I'll write something that's probably I have to shed on, you know. So what I'm hearing has always been ahead of what I could actually play, and it's still that way. What I hear, I'm still trying to get it to come out the horn. But if I hear something and if I can get it down to pencil to paper, then I can document that and create it, you know. So I think that, you know, I'm chasing my inner ear, which, you know, the muse that brings the compositions to life. There's certain compositions that I really hate to play that are really, I mean, really, I shouldn't say hate, but really tough to negotiate, you know, and it sounds so nice. And I was like, yeah, man, this is going to be nice. When I put that stuff in front of me, I'm going, oh, shoot. And then I got certain tunes that I'll forget, you know. I mean, I'll know the melody, but then I'll forget some of the changes, you know. I'm like, wait a minute, what was in there again? I go back to the piano. So I would say, you know, my writing and the knowledge that I'm studying, all that kind of stuff, drives the horn.
All right. And then just one more question, and that is, although we here on this call, you know, we strive to be great jazz players and stuff like that, but sometimes we know that in music, you might not have a choice of playing exactly the genre you want to play. So talk to me about the importance of just, if you're going to be a musician, be a musician. If you can specialize, great, but it's important to just keep playing.
That's correct, you know. There's two things I think I answer real quickly. Somebody says, oh, that's a dumb gig. I said, no, what is a dumb gig is if you're washing dishes and you could have been playing your horn, making money, because you didn't want to do dumb gigs. You know, so it's important to keep that horn and that instrument in front of you and be able to make some income off of that. Number two, I was in a cab in New York and I had my horn. I was going to a gig, and the guy asked me, so what kind of music do you play? And I said, yes. You know, and that's me, man. When Bird, they played bar mitzvahs, man. They used to go up and down Broadway, just sitting in with any band, you know, just trying to get it. Latin, I don't care. I do weddings. I've done bar mitzvahs. I do, you know, parties. I do dancers. I can do horn bands, cover bands. You know, if the musicianship is there, you know, I'm there, you know. That's how I like to see myself. I think that's important, especially now for any musician, young ones coming up. But we've always knew that, but I think it's more imperative now.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cameron, you got a question, Cameron?
Yes, hello, and thanks for
Cameron.
inviting. I'm a longtime fan. I'm a saxophone player, also a middle school band director. So my question is for myself, for my young students that are aspiring jazz musicians, and my grade level is 6th through 8th grade. What would you say are the things that I should be implanting into them or introducing them to?
I think first of all, Cameron, I think at that age, the more sounds you can put in their head, if you can spend time or find a time in the schedule to just listen, even if it's just 1 or 2 records a day or a class, you know, start playing some Blue Note records for them and some Prestige, you know, of course, Count Basie and Duke, you know, because you're going to have a large sound, but start playing some Lee Morgan and some Monk and, you know, all the stuff, you know, just spoon feed them a little bit of listening. And the other thing, I guess the other thing is just try to encourage everybody to improvise. You know, the first thing that launched me off, man, was the Dorian scale. I still live and die by the Dorian scale. with all its permutations, you know, but that Dorian scale is a mother. So I think there's some books out there now, you know, where you can get the kids to, you know, have the courage, you know.
Right.
I think encourage them to solo and make mistakes, you know. And I think really right now, the more they can listen, because they're young and they'll absorb it. So give them a steady diet.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well,
That's the thing that turned me around. That's the thing that turned me around was the listening part, because I didn't grow up with a lot of any jazz records. My dad had a couple of Gene Ammonds, but you know, I find that the ones, the younger ones that played better were the ones that were around the most records.
If there's any more questions before we
Well, it's less of a question, but more of just kind of a thank you, because just throughout all this, me personally, and I'm sure many others have, I mean, you've opened up doors in my playing already just from this conversation that I've been trying to open for months or years. And it's not even about maybe necessarily my horn, but it's just about someone taking you into a direction. And I really needed that, and I'm sure others here did too, and I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, you know. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Watts, we gotta get you down here when this thing is over, man.
I tell you, that's another thing, yeah, because that in-person thing, that's what I was gonna go. When we can be together and break bread together and make some music together and be in each other's presence, man, and that's that other dimension. When we're moving the atmosphere and changing the quality of the air with our notes and our personalities, that's powerful. You know, just when I hung around with the older cats, man, like I said, I watched how they lived during the day, how they conducted themselves, and just be in their presence and just sit there and listen to them talk and, you know, walk to the store with them and come back and just, you know, just be around them and be in their airspace. And I think that's very important, and that's the biggest thing missing during this pandemic.
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's so true. Yeah, Mike, it'll be too hard to pull it up. Somebody want us to show us. We have a video of us doing in case you missed it. But
oh, yeah?
I don't know if I want you to hear that.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Man, let me see if I can find that. Wow.
Yeah, you got me now. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight, man.
No. Let me see if I can find this. Give me 1 minute.
I have it.
I'm about to go.
I'm already on edge, man. For the Super Bowl tomorrow, man.
I see you got your hat on. Let me see how I can. I got to find how to get into.
Take your time, man.
Mike said he got it. You just got to let him share his screen.
Okay, Mike, you got it. Go ahead. All right. So let me make you a co-host.
There's so many of you guys I hadn't heard from, you know, and I want to know next time you guys that hadn't spoken up this time, next time you get an opportunity, just ask anything. You know, I'm saying that with me, but anybody else that comes from you, there's no such thing as a dumb question. You know, please don't be shy when you get these opportunities. You know, don't have any regrets when we sign off. Nobody should have any regrets when we sign off today.
All right, I've got one if you don't mind while we're looking for the video.
Sure.
You've laid enough stuff on us right now to kind of tie up my practicing for a long time. I just want to ask, what's your practice routine like? If you don't mind, just give us a little bit of an idea as to how you start and what you might be, just to keep your chops together.
Well, I usually deal with basic things like major six chords. Like that, you know. Yeah. Things that get me thinking, you know, and feel it on the horn. And then sometimes I might just do diminished. Or I might go up in a half step. You know, and then octaves. Maybe I might do major six, major seventh. No, I'm doing it wrong. You know, those are major sevenths. Then I might do minors. You know, I just sort of things that kind of get me thinking, get me settled. You know, and I do those things. Long tones, of course. I'll start out really, really soft. You know, do like that, breath attack, things like that, just to get my face straight and get my fingers, you know, get connected with the horn. And then from there, I'll probably start trying to play a song, you know, try to make some music as soon as I can, you know, what I'm working on. You know, I might play a ballad. I might do something like Body and Soul a cappella, you know, just play the melody, play one chorus and play the head out. That'll get your chops.
Oh yeah.
And I take a lot of breaks.
All right. Well, thank you. And I see we got the video up. Thank you very much.
I had two questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, the first one was I see you're playing on a Yamaha. What kind of neck is like? What is that? A custom Z?
Yeah, it's a custom Z2.
Yeah.
And it's
What neck is that?
gold plated V1.
It's a V1.
Yeah, V1 custom.
Okay, yeah.
Gold plated.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the neck. And the second one
V1
was,
gold plated.
yeah, and the second one was what's your favorite album?
That I've done?
No, that
Oh,
you.
my favorite album of all time?
Yeah, that you've ever heard.
Oh, I've had several. Love Supreme, Charlie Parker with Strings, Stan Getz, Focus. Shoot,
Okay,
Herbie
well, let me cater
Hancock.
this more to my taste. What's your
Huh?
favorite Cannonball? I said, let me cater this more to my taste. What's your favorite Cannonball album?
Oh my. Live at the Lighthouse. Um, Also, I like the one with Gil Evans and Cannonball. That's a great one. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Okay.
Yeah, Live at the Lighthouse and all them ones. Victor Feldman and the ones Cannonball. Whew. And Cannonball with strings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
And that one where he plays Minority, I think it's called, what is it? Portrait of a Cannonball or something?
Yeah, that's it. Portrait of
Portrait
Cannonball.
of Cannonball.
Yeah, those are great records.
Okay.
Country Preacher is a great record.
I don't think you share them with sound. Or it just didn't work.
Can y'all hear it?
Yeah, but I think it's you might need to share the sound too, because some is it's lagging or something.
Oh, yeah?
Y'all don't hear it?
Hey, I see y'all.
Yeah, we
I
hear
hear
it.
it. I just
Right
see
now.
it.
I still can't hear anything.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yeah, you know what?
Y'all can't hear it?
I hear it, but some people say they can't hear it, and I can hear it, but it's like it's dragging.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah.
Then the drummer was in there.
I'm sharing the sound.
Really?
Am
Yeah, I'm
I?
sharing everything.
Okay, try it again then.
Nope, I still don't hear anything.
Michael,
Yeah,
do you have is that on your computer or is there a link to it?
this is my computer.
Okay.
Oh, you need me to share it?
I was going to say, if you give me a link, I might be able to share it.
Okay, yeah. What's your number or email?
You probably would have to email it to me.
Okay. What's your email?
Who's that on the front line?
Van Merkestein, VanMerkestyn at memphisjazzworkshop.org.
Say it again.
Wow.
You probably have it in your address book. You've emailed me a few times.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Who's on that front line, man? Who's in the band?
Okay, that's me on piano. We have 12th grader Braxton Hart on trombone. Johnny Yancey, he's on the call now. Trumpet, and Michael Scott, the guy who's setting up the video, he's saxophone.
Michael Price.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Michael Price. Then we have a bass player with Sylvester Sample. So just Memphis cats, and we did we did a concert maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, and we did a lot of music of Art Blakey from That There, Moaning. We did this tune, your tune, in case you missed it. We did Ugetsu. Yeah, we just wanted, but it was during the pandemic, so we hadn't played in a while, so we just wanted, just get out and just blow some steam.
I know the emotions were running high that day. Huh?
Yeah, man. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was a good time though, man. It was good. It was good.
Well, Steve, why don't you just send me the link so I can listen to it? That way, you know.
Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, I can see the whole. Yeah, I know if you got a minute, I can see the whole concert, man.
All right.
Yeah. You can give me some feedback on what you think about it. That's no problem.
I'm sure y'all was swinging, man. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it was fun, man. You know, it was
Is that on campus?
No, that was this spot called the Grove. It's a performing arts center out in this area called Germantown here in Memphis.
Yeah.
Outdoor amphitheater. It's a nice place, man, and nice crowd. You know, nice people spread it out. I think one of the people, Barb. I don't know if Barbara's still on here, but one of the people that's on the call now. She was at the concert. She might have got off on the call here, but she was there. But it was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, we might not be able to play it today.
That's okay. I mean,
No, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna just try it again.
That already inspired me.
Well, no, you got how you get the whole thing, man?
Me?
Yeah,
Someone recorded it.
I know. He on the call too, I think. Marvin, did you? Hey, yeah, these people must have got it.
I think his girlfriend recorded that. She was in the audience.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to pull up the video now. See if you want to look it up.
Got it up now.
But in order for me to show it, you're gonna have to go
Pull it up, Marvin. Give him the because he recorded.
All right, Marvin. I'm getting you.
Then I gotta see if I can figure out this share thing. I can't even find my thing again. How's everybody doing?
Are we doing good, man?
Thank you.
Y'all go ahead and talk, Steve. Don't put me on the spot here. Go ahead and talk.
Hey, you on the spot, dude.
I'm trying to find this. I'm trying to find how to use this share thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to press the share button. They have to let you be host or something.
He's the co-host. The share button's on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, there's like participants chatting in their share.
Okay, I hit the share.
I'm not leaving. I just gotta step over here for a minute.
Okay.
I can still hear you.
Okay, this is crazy.
Oh, so you can't do okay. Well, let
I got the video up.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just trying to y'all go ahead and talk. So you make me nervous. You're not talking. Let me talk about something else. Let me do this.
Okay.
Here I am. That's not me. That's Bobby.
Random conversation. Anybody ready for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we ready for Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl.
Tom Brady.
Hey.
I'm with you, Jam.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Michael.
Hey. Okay, now I'm the co-host, so.
Well, since we're waiting, Michael, thanks for having me on. I've been listening, and Mr. Watson, there's some things you realized that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That you talked about the intellect behind Art Blake and the things that he talked about. There's a series that's on right now here in Memphis on WKNO tonight. I don't know how many people have seen the Ken Burns Jazz series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a very good series. So here in Memphis tonight on WKNO, it comes on at 8. They're playing it every Saturday night. So that's a good series to learn about some of the jazz and the history. And there was a program earlier this week called Jazz Ambassadors.
Y'all see that?
Yeah.
You can see that?
Yeah.
There was a program on earlier this week called Jazz Ambassadors.
Hold on, Marvin. Let's finish that question before you play.
You gotta take it back further.
Yeah, you gotta go back a little bit further. Hold on 1 minute, AJ.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotta take it back. Pause it.
Yeah, is it dragging? Is that just a video or is just reception?
The problem is that there are too many people unmuted, and the video started in the middle.
Oh,
When he shares, he also needs to optimize for video.
And I don't know if he can hear us or
Okay.
if he knows what's happening.
Yeah, Marvin, stop right quick. Yeah, we're just Miss Watts. We'll send it to you. Ekpe, go ahead with your question, man.
Okay, y'all can take me off.
Okay, yes, I really appreciate the things that you talked about, Mr. Watson, in terms of you know, the music and how music is connected to everything else. And I was mentioning about this program that was on WKNO, the local public television station here, called Jazz Ambassadors. And it talked about how when Dizzy went to different places in the world and Satchmo, and how these men were very, very intelligent because they knew things about other things other than just, they were great players, obviously, but they knew other things in the world as well. So it resonated when you talked about when you and Art Blakey were talking, and you all didn't really talk about music. You talked about a lot of other things. So being versed in other things helps to broaden even your vocabulary musically as well when these things count. So if you want to say something about that, you know, that's, yeah. And I would encourage everybody to watch at 8 o'clock tonight, that program about jazz, Ken Burns Jazz, and look up Jazz Ambassadors on PBS.
Thanks, Ekpe.
You're on mute, Mr. Watson.
yeah, they were very well traveled. I mean, does anybody, who can tell me what country Isfahan is in? The young ones. Anybody under 30 can tell me. Huh?
What was your question? I didn't hear.
Okay, what country is Isfahan in? Can anybody tell me, young ones? It's in Iran. Isfahan is in Iran. Duke Ellington and his orchestra toured Iran, you know, and my late friend Bob Belden did a tour of Iran the year before he died.
We've got a great show for you here tonight.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been to Israel, you know. We sing "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem" every year, but you know where Bethlehem is?
I know where that is. Bethlehem is in. Mom,
Where?
Oh, sorry.
Who are native Bethlehemers?
Bethlehem is in. Oh, I just had it and then I lost it.
I would say, you remember? Palestine. Palestine. Palestinians, most the native people in Bethlehem are Palestinians. So you see how the politics conflict with the history and the sovereignty of these great countries. And I always said if I was president, I would make everybody get a passport during my first 2 years, you know, and get the hell out of the country and go see something. You know, I was in Macedonia, you know, I saw some of the stuff that King David built and all this stuff, you know, King Solomon. This isn't it's not, the world is not like Disneyland. You know, you take that ride, it's a small world after all, you know, and hey, I'm in Switzerland, hey, I'm in Italy, oh, I'm in Germany, whoa, you know. No, these are sovereign countries, and you look up and you see the moon, and you see the sun, and you see constellations, and they breathe the air, and everybody in the world just wants to get up in the morning and come home at night. That's all everybody basically wants to do. I want to get up in the morning, do my business, and come home at night and chill, enjoy my family, go to a movie, go out to eat. Basic human things. And this is the things that we talked about. We talked about architecture. He pointed out the viaducts, the Roman aqueducts, the aqueducts. They used to take water from Rome all down, you know, and he pointed out Islamic architecture that was all through Europe, you know. So there were these men, like you said, Ekpe, because these men were brilliant, man. They were worldly. They had a savoir-faire, as you say, you know. They knew about the cuisine, you know. When we get to a country, man, we eat the local cuisine, man. We wouldn't be looking for a McDonald's, you know. Where can I get me a hamburger, you know? No, man, what y'all got, man? What y'all got, man? We want it. You know, we want to eat what y'all eat, man. It was quite an experience. Like I say, I'd make everybody travel, get the heck out of here. And if they don't, I'd fine them $1,000.
Okay.
They'd all have to pay $1,000 fine.
I went to Europe when I was 10. Does that count?
Yes, it does count.
Okay, good.
Very much counts, Tiana. Shoot. I mean, most people can't tell you how to get out of town. You know, a lot of preachers can tell you how to get to heaven, but they can't tell you how to get out of town. Hey man, I need to get out of town going north. What road should I take? You know, west, east, south, you know. I mean, a lot of these people, man, they've never even been out of their own town, out of their own states. You know, that's a big problem in this country, man. We're too isolated, you know. So, you know, this is another conversation too for another day.
Yeah, we got.
I learned so much from being around all these guys. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't be talking. I'd just be sitting there listening. You know, one time I was listening to Jimmy Woody in Switzerland, and we just played. Jimmy Woody is a great bass player that played with Duke Ellington, and he always wore an ascot, you know. And he'd talk about the maestro, and he would tell endless stories about the maestro, talking about Duke Ellington. And it was so interesting. I'm sitting there in his house, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. And he's telling me this extremely interesting, vital story about Duke. And I just like, you know how it is when you got your eyes open, and next thing you know, you're asleep. You know, like you're watching TV and you think you're watching TV and you nod it out, but you're really interested. So I did that on him. Next thing I know, he's like, he woke me back up. I said, huh? He goes, oh yes. And as I was saying, you know, I mean, I'm like, God dog, and I can't even nod out on this guy, you know.
Oh man. I'm gonna try it one more time. This is the last time.
Thank you.
I don't see it anymore.
Mr. Watson, thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. That was nice, man.
Thanks,
That
man.
made my day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So
Make sure you send that to me so I can hear the whole thing.
okay. I seen the whole concert, man. Thank
Oh,
you.
beautiful.
All right,
Beautiful.
so everybody give it up for Mr. Bobby Watson. Thank you. Yeah, so man, we can't thank you enough, man. We can actually mail you a T-shirt. You know, I get your address and we
Okay.
can mail you a T-shirt. So we thank you on behalf of the Memphis Jazz Workshop. We thank you so much, kids. Just this is a moment that I'm sure some of y'all, like Isaac said, it's a life-changing moment. So for the young kids, so y'all just stand on here. That means that speaks volumes for these kids to be just still on here, just listening.
Yes.
So thank you so much once again. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, everybody take care. Thank you.
All right, go Chiefs. Somebody mentioned Brady. I didn't like that.
I appreciate it.
All right. See you.